Guys, welcome back. Coffee. I know there are handles on cups. I don't have no idea what they're there for. But, I didn't talk to you yesterday because I was still getting used to stuff, and I thought, I've done it now. It's okay to say you talk to gods. It sounds perfectly reasonable, people. Like, if you said, oh, I talked to Loki, people be like, okay, or you talk to Boulder or whatever. If they're Christian, you talk to Jesus or whatever, they'd be fine. Some people might be like a little bit leery, but most people be, like, okay, that's nice. But you say you've talked to anything or you've seen anything else. Like when I used to write my articles, I used to think, oh my god, because I used to see the Loa when I was little. And I didn't know they were Loa. They don't come up to you and go, I'm an ancient African spirit and da da da. They just, they acted like everyone else. And when you're young enough, I didn't understand for the longest time other people didn't see stuff like I did. And I didn't have, and if I had once I started telling people, and I understood that, like, sounded like crazy talk to most people, stop telling people. And I was listening late last night. I couldn't sleep all night. Got up. Took Harvey with me to the church. Came back, crashed, went to sleep. Went back up. Took him back up again. He's so excited. He's so sweet. If you play Undertale, he's like Papyrus, but 2 times sweeter. He's like so sweet and gentle. Anyhow, I was listening to that fairy story last night, and I was listening to a fairy documentary today. And by fairy story, I mean like he was like talking about the documentary I love. And I just happened upon this gentleman's podcast. And it was like, well, these people probably get told they're crazy every day too. And it seems to me that like some people in the community that like if you start talking about fairies or start talking about seeing the gods and talking to the gods, or people talk about ghosts and that, they kind of got to distance themselves because, they want to seem legitimate. They want to seem rational. They're not like those crazy flakes over there that talk to ghosts. They're legitimate, rational people. They're just the same as everyone else. And I think we lose something by that. I'd seen Harvey. I don't know what's his name, like, I'm really tired. I'd seen him as a little girl. And he was never fond of the front gate. It has nothing to do with it being iron, or it was iron before it completely and utterly destroyed it. It was he likes to come and go. And keep in mind, when he obliterated this gate, they had come through and done work for the county, and like everything, there was like no hedge on the one side. He could have walked like around the one side, and the hedges were shot in the other. He could have walked on the other. Oh no, he didn't like that gate. Now, could someone else have knocked over that gate and taken credit for it? Maybe. But, I mean, this gate was obliterated. It was just blown to pieces, and had anybody hit this in their car, they would have been dead, because it was cement-filled posts, metal posts filled with cement, and then this wrought iron gate, and whatever hit it completely drove one of the posts into the ground. And, completely obliterated the gate and everything else, and there wasn't a spark or a speck of paint, tail light, a piece of metal, anything else. There was no oil on the ground. There were no skid marks. And nobody heard anything. At all. So, there was that. And, there've been other stuff too, but, he is really sweet and gentle. We've been watching the, fairy things, and, the, pukas will come up, and I'll just kind of either be curious or just sigh. And, the one documentary, there's a picture of a puka, and for some reason the puka's green. And, he looks like the little elf type, goblin type that they often show for pukas now. And he's looking at it, and his head's going this way, and his head's going that way. And he goes, why am I green? I'm like, well, that's how people see you. And he just keeps looking at it because he could be whatever he likes. And he's looking at it and he's like, I don't think I'd like to be that. I'm like, you don't have to be that. But he's so sweet. He's into everything. And he loves to read. I don't know why I'm telling you all this, but he loves to read. Um, I grew up loving to read too, and if I would be reading a book, he would be one of the characters in the book, and that made total sense to me. Sure, it made sense to me. I was too young to know most people didn't see people like this, so, some people are gonna think, oh, if she's crazy, I'm not gonna watch her channel anymore, and that's fine. But, yeah, like, I'd be reading Treasure Island, and he'd be, Long John Silver, and I'd be, even up today, if I'm watching something and he knows I like a character, he'll imitate the voice or the form or something. And he's very gentle. It's not so much what one guy said in the podcast, it's not like there's this distinction between good and evil fairies. It's just that, it depends on how they're treated. It depends on whether or not humans are going around making mischief and blame it on the fairies. Like in America, for example, Halloween used to be called Mischief Night. And young men like to go around and put wagons on the top of barns and take the wheels off the wagons and, like, scatter them all over the farm. And, that's not the fairies at work. That's, young men going around having a lark. And, it can be, we do have to be a little bit rational and think, well, was this a human doing stuff and blaming the fairies? Kind of like how back in the Middle Ages, a guy would look exactly like a priest, exactly like the bishop, but he had to be a demon because he went in, saw a nun, and got the nun pregnant. Yeah, like, we can't blame demons for that. Today we're like, oh dear. Oh dear. It was exactly like him because it was him, sweetheart. But, and I'm not trying to take away from it if you truly believe that was a demon, fine, believe it. But, we do have to be a little bit rational, and I think it's like they're like anyone else. I mean, they're intentionally powerful. If you do look into the lore in Ireland, there's a sense that the gods, perhaps, as we would use the term, and the fae and the dead, they're kind of all melded together sometimes. Sometimes when, for example, the word for puka is said to be a word for male ghost, so I heard it means other things as well. And some people see the fairies as, the ancient deposed gods, and some people see them as the ancient dead, and some people do see them as nature spirits, and I think they're like a little bit of everything. He's not fond of being, he's never wanted anything like worship. But if I want to leave him meals out and share my food with him and, read with him, do everything else, that's fine. And we do seem to have to be careful around milk. Other than that, like, if I leave milk out and let him have some and then I have it, it's like, But other than that, like, he loves coffee, he loves everything. They'll get into, fairies will adapt very quickly to wherever they are, and you'll find that if you start working with one, he or she or they might have, like, a favorite. They might like chocolate, or they might like actual fairy bread, like make it like they do in Australia. You take a piece of bread and you put some butter over it, and then you put sprinkles on it. So they might like that. He likes his sweets, but he'll also eat his meat and everything else. Like, they usually used to leave, specifically for the puka, like the first week in November is this week. They used to leave, like, the last of the harvest. And I won't say how they said he did it, but the puka would come along, and if a human was greedy enough to go out after they'd had all the time to harvest, because, they coexisted peacefully enough with humans, after we'd had all our time to harvest, if we got greedy still and we went out there and said, I want that last grain of wheat, or I want that last whatever, it would be blasted by the puka. He would have taken the foodness out of it, and it would have made you pretty sick if you ate it. And, you know, it was like they keep the balance. We humans get to use, but use within our means. When we start overstepping our bounds, that's when the fairies kind of act, you know, as a counterbalance, and they're like, you know, you have enough. You're being a greedy human now. And I think that's what might be behind a lot of the maliciousness. Well, you know, if I talk to Harvey, he'll say, well, we're just, you know, kind of like any other people. There are ones that are nice and there are ones that are not so nice. But I think a lot of it comes from, too, if we overstep our bounds. I get the sense from him they feel sorry for us because they don't think we're that bright. They really don't. They think, they kind of almost think we're children. And that's kind of why he adopted me, in a sense. You know, I'm his human. And that's why they'll adopt families, and it has nothing to do with blood or anything. They kind of feel sorry for us. They kind of feel, you know, we don't know what we're doing. We have no idea. And he knows me. I would walk, like, right up to, Donovan isn't the right word. Kushi isn't the right word either. I'm getting it. The driver, the headless driver. Oh my god! And I used to do so much with Irish literature. This is so bad. It'll come to me after the recording, but he knows I'd walk right up to, you know, right up to him after he called my name and be like, "What you doing?" And Harvey would be having a heart attack, but, you know, I would, because I don't think it's fair that we humans have that gut reaction of, oh my god, it's, you know, ba 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 ba, and it's da 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 da. And I think it explains a lot, because I think he's, like, usually always with me, even though, like, when I found out they're only supposed to be out at night, he's like, no, we're fine. Dogs will go nuts. And, like, the crow today, the crow was, like, right above me and talking to me, and the crow was, like, all happy and excited, because, pukas can be anything, absolutely anything they want, but they have fondness for, like, crows, ravens, horses, goats, I think they can, like, do cats, dogs, anything. I think it's, like, based on, you know, their preferences. I know when I was reading the lore, they said that you can usually tell them because they'll have that telltale, like, goat horns or anything. But unless he's doing it on purpose, I've never seen him do it. If he wants to imitate a person or anything else, he looks just like you and me. It's not like I see him, like, I look over here and I'm, like, literally seeing my jacket on the chair. You kind of see them, like, in your headspace, like you see the gods. And it's also, as I said in the documentary, it's more about, you see them with your heart, you don't see them with your eyes. You kind of have to believe. Other interesting thing about pukas is, and I got this off Irish tourism, I guess, website, so take it for what you will. They believe, like, the boogeyman was based on them, and also the Easter Bunny. There you go. And you can see why, because if you enrage them, if you manage to hit that I made you angry point, yeah, anyone that powerful can be dangerous. Just like an angry human can be dangerous. But if you are kind to them, they can be, very, very kind back. I've noticed, as I listen to, like, paranormal stories, no, take them for what you will. I've noticed, some people, like to make things up. But, a lot of stories about these bipedal, Easter Bunny kind of creatures. And, that's one way a puka can appear. And they can appear as a horse, and they can appear as whatever they like. If for some strange reason he thought he should appear as Winston Churchill, he would appear as Winston Churchill, and we would go from there. He likes being Doctor Who for some strange reason. But sometimes he calls me the doctor and he calls himself the companion, so I never know what I'm going to get. But, you know, he's fun, he's intelligent, he's very kind. But I think you get what you get with him. He's exceptionally kind and gentle, though. I mean, it's amazing. I think that's why the gods were kind of sad, because they were like, you have to notice him. He wasn't doing any of the things he did to be, you know, threatening or scary or anything. It was, I need your attention. I want your attention. And so we went shopping today, and he had a lovely time, and we didn't want anything. I thought, oh, we're going to go up and we're going to buy all this stuff for you or Christmas or something. And I think it was the same exact sellers from the spring. And I was so tired this morning. I literally only had 2 hours of sleep. And when I am that tired, I really can't speak English. Remember, I had Polish and German and Italian spoken in the family. Well, at least the Polish. Yeah, all three. And I'm up there, and I'm trying to think of, like, how to ask for a donut and coffee, because I could not remember the Polish for it. And Harvey's like, we speak English. Oh, yeah. and he's like, speak English. I'm like, oh, yeah, because I couldn't remember the Polish, and I couldn't remember the Italian, and I'm like sitting there like, donut. And coffee. And I couldn't tell you. That's a shame. Like, when I say English is my third language, people from, like, other countries get really upset, especially if English isn't the primary language. But it kind of is. I was never taught what it meant, but I had, you know, torrents of Italian and German and Polish spoken around me. So, like, sometimes I'll see something and I won't really know why. I kind of know, like, a word pops into my head, but I won't know. And if I'm really tired, I'll only remember, like, random words. But, yeah, so I went up there. We did that. Came home and crashed. I was so excited about his coffee and donut. It's so sweet. And came home, and Loki is nuts, because yes, of course, Loki's in the story. And Loki's running around Foxhorn. And Loki's like, oh my god, we went out! And I'm like, oh my god, he must have been, like, all through this thing. Because he thinks it's fun to, like, I know this sounds crazy talking about a god, but we are talking about Loki. He likes to become a fox and just zoom around. And I got the idea, it was giving me this mental image, he'd been zooming around, like, around people's feet, and I'm like, oh my god, not to trip them or anything, but he was so hyper and exciting, he does like people. And we got our nap, and I woke up, and I'm like, well, I know I slept through it, because I finally got my night's sleep, and luckily I hadn't, so I went up, and I put a picture over on Patreon. I got, what was that? Anyhow, excuse me. I got 2 hot dogs, 2 Pepsis, and 2 bags of chips. So I finally got my meal, because I hadn't had food this morning, or that would have helped. Sugar and caffeine, like, don't help you wake up. Anyhow, got that. Got a plate of cookies for Christmas/Yule. Got, some other stuff too. So yeah, we enjoyed ourselves. We went out, but it was, you know, I didn't post anything yesterday because I didn't have enough of a sense of how to put it into words and, like, how to talk about it. And I'm thinking, you know, I know we have this tendency as pagans to, like, try to distance ourselves from certain things because we want to be accepted by the larger community. But, you know, if you come to think of it, when are you going to walk up to most people and start talking about fairies or Loki or something? You're not. Not seriously. Not the way you'd speak to another pagan or another person who works with Loki. They just kind of look at you. So, I hope you guys found that useful. And usually you guys find this stuff timely, so I hope it helped. And I can only say with my experiences with, you know, fairies, fae, little people, good folk, whatever you like to call them, because everyone will disagree and say, no, this is what they like. Um, I think it's entirely based on how you treat them. It's based entirely on if you respect them and, you're not too pushy and nosy a human. There's certain things you won't talk about, and that's alright. We humans, we think we need to know everything for some reason. We're inquisitive little creatures. But, they're usually good-humored about it as long as you'll listen to know. If you would keep pushing, I know some people found that as they do research into them, the more they do the research, sometimes they don't get that good a reception because they do like their privacy. And if you're only going in because you demand to know everything about everything, you might have a bad time. But if you go in with respect, and you don't go in expecting Tinkerbell, and you don't go in expecting those trashy romance novels about fairies, or you don't go in expecting really anything, if you go in like with an open heart and an open mind, um, I think you can have a good time, and you can have rewarding experiences. It's just, you have to do things on their terms and on the times they like. And if they're not going to come, they're not going to come. If they're going to come, they're going to come. Um, Doulahan. There, Doulahan. Because I had a Doulahan in a story there. I told you I'd know it, and I was just about to sign off, and there it popped up. But, yeah, I'd say, don't always take the old stories to heart. Don't think, for example, because you heard Doulahan, oh, big and scary. Don't always expect they're gonna be bad. I notice we humans don't react to their energy too well, and we're always terrified they're going to snap us up and take us away. Um, Harvey said he borrowed me once, but it was like really present. It was during a meditation. I was meditating at college, and people came in to show off my room, and I didn't know it. And I was not in the room. I was meditating. In the meditation, I was walking in a field of flowers, and I think maybe somebody was with me, but that's thinking back, so maybe I'm altering it. And then I came out of the meditation, and I said, I was here. I was meditating right on the floor on the carpet. How did you not see me if you actually walked in the room? You weren't here. We all walked in. We walked in and looked in your room. I'm like, one, thanks for showing off my room without my permission. And two, I was most definitely here, but, somehow they missed me on a rug. And, these rooms were about as big as my kitchen. So I'm not quite sure how they did that. But, take it for what you will. Because I was talking to him about that experience today, and he's like, oh, I borrowed you for a little bit. Take it that way you will. So, if you guys like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe. And oh my god, we've gone on a while, or I've gone on a while. But I will see you guys later. Bye bye.